one of the goals we have is to be able to share that at staff meetings. Because what we see, myself, Mr. Brooke, Mr. Coleman, what we see on our end from the administrative standpoint, the staff is not able to see. So we have this data on how many suspensions we have. What grade levels have what students have been referred, or what types of referral? What is it? Classroom management? Is it skipping class? Is it doing something? Is it all these different things? Is it being this is district? Is it district factor? Is it bullying? Is it this? We want to make sure that we're able to break things down to a certain degree, so that we're able to look things throughout the field. Again, it's not just me as a disciplinarian; it's all of us. We all work as a team throughout the building. What's it? School culture is not just run by one person, right? So if my standard is not the same standard as everybody else, we have chaos, but we don't have chaos. We want to make sure that we continue to keep that consistency and that communication. Communication has got a big increase. We talked about that for years, wanting to make sure that everybody is in the know about what's happening around us. And you can't make informed decisions if no one knows. That's a goal for us. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I can personally say doing PIMS data at the end of the year in the summertime. What I've had conversations with Dr. Jones as well. When we look at the suspension and the rate for suspension, and what that looks like on the state level, it does make me think about things in a different way. Because it's like, okay, well, this situation in our handbook is a suspension, right? But if we're looking at it from a perspective of restorative practices, what could we have done differently to try to get that kid to understand what they did wrong, instead of having to exclude them from school? Meanwhile, when we exclude them from school, our test scores go down because they're not interested in learning. We understand that. Yes, do we still do suspension? Absolutely, because there's certain things that are egregious that should not be in our school environment. Because we try to promote excellence, but also we understand the human side of things, that everybody's different. We do communicate with families as much as we can, and we document everything that we do, so that at the end of the day, when we have to make a decision like that, we know that that was the last chance, that was the last thing that we tried to do in order to make sure that student understood what happened. And there's a lot of support that our school brings. This group who runs the MPSS. We put this through that as well. We have staff here at the building. We have boys and girls groups. There's a lot of people and resources that we have to be able to combat some of those negative behaviors. So we definitely try to make sure every individual allows their kids and speak to them on a personal level. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. So I mean, we wanted to make sure that they are satisfied here. And what are some of the concerns that they have? We asked some questions regarding what types of PD do they think was interacting with our staff? What do they think was the type of PD that they might need, that might be better help for them, right? We also want to know, have they been communicated with, the type of communication. We want to use that to make sure that, again, if they're satisfied, that they are being communicated with, and that we're giving them the best option for their child when they come to school every single day. Yep. You're welcome. Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
So
So this mic is an old mic. I'm thinking that's the reason why we had the echo. Um, So the emergency operations plan is a document that we utilize in the event of an emergency. It tells us things as if there was a fire and we needed to evacuate the premises where we would go. It also, if we had an intruder, some of the things that we're supposed to do if we have an intruder, if we ever had to shelter in place, what would we do? This document is a very private document that is utilized for our staff. We don't share that document, but what I want you all to know is it is a tool that we utilize to collaborate with our police officers that come into our building. They're very familiar with those processes. And we also utilize it to communicate with EMS and the Penn Hills Police Department at large. We communicate with them once a year. They come to our school along with the Penn Hills School District to ensure that we are all on the same accord. Our EOP has been given to the board to be looked at once a year. Some of the things that we changed this year is previously we used to have names in it, but of course you don't want to have names in your EOP. We will be changing it quite frequently. So our EOP no longer has names in it. Our EOP has also elaborated on different things this year, such as various things that the Penn Hills Police Department will do in the event of an emergency, whereas previously we did not have that data in the EOP. So my intent is not to be secretive. My intent is to ensure you that we're abiding by PDE rules. We also collaborate with the AIU to ensure that we are following all the rules, regulations, and policies that we are required to follow. If we ever have an emergency, our staff is very well trained on everything that they need to do to ensure that not only they are safe, but also our students. And board, if you ever wanted to sit down and lead through it, I'm more than welcome to do so with you. And if anybody else has any questions, I'll be willing to share that, address their concerns. But as far as sharing a document, I cannot do it to general. Questions, concerns? Oh, yes. Okay, so Penn Hills Police Department, I collaborate with the AIU, also collaborate with some people from Penn Hills School District. Safety, Mrs. Rupert is part, Mr. Cleanskills is also part, our safety team is part of the committee to include our nurse, our social worker, our guidance counselor. Make sure I'm not missing anybody. Of course, Mrs. Schwach, of course, our principal, Mr. Miller. So I want to make sure that when I'm making these decisions, I'm also including people who are not just on a leadership team. So Mr. Miller brings to the table from a teacher's perspective some of the things that are really relevant for us. One of the other things that we also included, I forgot the most important part, is we have a rear evacuation point. So we've included that on as part of our EOP, and the safety committee actually went out to the rear evacuation point to ensure that we know how to get in and out of it, right? In the event that there was an emergency, I need to make sure mostly that they are familiar with it. The front office is familiar with it. Our principal, social worker, guidance counselor. So everybody knows how to do that in the event that we needed to utilize that point as an evacuation. You're welcome, sir.
Okay, I have a question.
How often are the fire drills done and the evacuation plan per year? Is it
I love that question. Thank you. So we're required to have fire drills once a month. So we probably, we do a little bit more than what we're required to do. We are also required to do one safety and security drill within the first 90 days, 90 days of the school year. We do more than that, only because, it's just us. And we're like on the top of the hill. And if we were to ever evacuate, I don't have schools on the outside of me ensuring that, we have the necessary assistance that other school districts may have. So I need to ensure that our teachers are very familiar with safety in place. I mean, we're at work, we do that a lot. We also do, we have a reunification plan that we try to do every other year. It's a bit much to do every year, so this year is, I hope to do the reunification point. This year, I also hope to include some parents, not all parents, right? So it might be someone that I'm not concerned if they were to have the information, what would they do with it? So it may be someone from off the board to ensure that they know what it is that we need to do, because I want to ensure that we know how to follow those procedures if you ever had to reunify with your students.
okay? Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. Action item 5, approval of the consent agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Ziola. May I have a second?
I'll second.
I think Mr. Stoddard got in there a
Hey,
little quicker.
yes.
So we'll have him for the second. Discussion. Is there any discussion? We do have Mr. Pollack available if there are any questions with regard to the Title IX policy and procedures or the student and employee immigration policy, if there's any questions with that. All right. Seeing none, we will take a vote. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Action item passes unanimously. This time we'll have new business. Dr. Jones?
Do we have any, what events can we have coming up next month that we can invite forward to? March. You guys recall? Okay.
Oh, how nice. Are they members of our community or the parents, a combination of both? Okay, wonderful. That's great.
So now we have that, and then also Micro Society Night, it's April 10th. So those are the two events I believe we have for the next board meeting at the end of April. Anything else that I'm missing?
And then those are held at the Fold still, or? Great. Any other new business from the board? I know it's February, it is past, but I would like to just show appreciation to my colleagues as we miss Board Appreciation Month in January. Thank you for all of your work and all of the great things that you do for our students. And I know that this is a volunteer position, and oftentimes it feels like a full-time job. So thank you so much for all of your hard work, especially to our new board members who are just now getting acclimated. Thank you for that. All right, this time we'll, may I have a motion for adjournment?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Drop. May I have a second?
I
Thank
second.
you.
You got it?
All right, then let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everyone.
Night.